The first expressions of spirituality likely arose from a confluence of animism, ancestor veneration, ritual burial, and the observation of natural cycles, all of which predate organized theology and written scripture. At this time, long before doctrine defined religion, sacred stories and rituals embodied an ancient esoteric understanding of the stars and cosmos, the rhythms of nature, and the cycles of life and of spirit. Rooted in entheogenic practice and communion with the divine, this original spiritual path persists beneath the symbols and myths of modern faiths, pointing back to a time of direct, sacred experience. This path is not the stained glass of orthodoxy, but the light that passes through it. The current beneath the ocean that directs all the waves above. This path is the inward flowering of true spiritual understanding. Imagine being handed a jigsaw puzzle. But there's no box or cover to guide you. You may have some pieces from ancient Greece, a few from ancient Egypt, maybe a fragment or two from Mesopotamia. You may have some Hebrew pieces, some Sanskrit pieces. But if you know how to read their symbolic structure, something strange begins to occur. They fit. The perennial philosophy is the recognition that all spiritual paths, though varied in form, ascend the same climb toward a shared summit of truth. You may have glimpsed this alchemical ascent in Jodorowsky's The Holy Mountain. Or perhaps you have heard the words of the Hindu mystic Ramakrishna, who once said that as one can ascend to the top of the house by means of a ladder or staircase or rope or bamboo, so diverse are the ways and means to approach God. This is the search for what lies beyond the veil. But what veil? The veil between waking and dreaming, between the material and the spiritual, between life and death. Truth is like a single beam of white light, invisible in its pure form, but containing all the colors within. Each spiritual tradition is a facet of the prism, refracting that one light into a distinct spectrum. Judaism, Buddhism, Christianity, Vedanta, Sufism, indigenous shamanism in all of its forms, and other systems each cast their own hue. The variations are not contradictions, but expressions of the same luminous source, seen through different angles. The faiths of the many are luminous jewels, each refracting light in a unique way. But the light itself, the source, may be better understood when those of all faiths and practices sit together, not to compare dogmas, but to recognize the foundational core that all share. Seek's mission is to gather the fragments of this broken mirror and restore the vision it once reflected. The human being is a microcosm of the cosmos, a temple not of stone, but of the soul. We have always been seeking to understand ourselves, our fellow humans, the natural world, and the surrounding cosmos, encoding celestial and terrestrial truths in myths, symbols, and allegories, and providing our thoughts regarding morality and mortality to future seekers asking the same questions as ourselves. Imagine that every religion, every myth, every sacred story, every spiritual tradition and initiatic ritual you've ever heard, read, or participated in are different chapters that have been torn from the same book. Now imagine that most of us are trying to understand this religious story without realizing that the pages are scattered across time, across space, across language, across culture. What if that book could be reassembled? What would it tell us?